Hey there folks, Riyadh here from tabletopminis.com and welcome to another episode of Questions and Answers. So this is Questions and Answers episode 5. So it's been a little while since we did our last one. I think it's coming up for 2 weeks or thereabouts. So I thought I'd just do another one. It's about time. So I've been through all the comments. I think we've got 26 comments. I'm not sure how long it'll take to answer all these questions, but so somewhere in the sort of 30-minute ballpark, I would imagine. So let's just get stuck in. A lot's happened in the last 2 weeks, that's for sure. So yeah, so let's just go through them one by one. So Eric's Coins is saying, I would like a heads up on Facebook when you have a hangout, because the times I joined was pure luck. I couldn't find any notice on the past hangouts. Keep up the good work, guys, Eric. And Vincent's saying maybe even one, maybe 2 fixed evenings for those hangouts. So yeah, painting hangouts is quite a new thing for us. You know, before, so three weeks ago, I guess 3-4 weeks ago, we started the painting hangouts, and we didn't put any notice up other than, you know, we'd put it as an event in the YouTube, in your feed, maybe a couple hours before it started, and for the first couple anyway. And I mean, we got quite a lot of viewers. I thought the painting hangouts for me have been amazing. Like, I really like the format, just really informal. You know, we're just chilling out, talking. I think in our first episode we had some people on the hangout, like they came on with their video and mic and chatting away for hours. It went on for about 8 hours. I mean, I initially planned these painting hangouts to maybe last 2 or 3 hours, but the first one went on for like 8 hours, and it was a lot of fun. It was great. And the ones following that as well, they've been a lot of fun as well. So I've definitely enjoyed them. I know Yahya has as well, and Ayad when he's took part. It's a great way to interact and so on. Regarding your question though, is to give you more notice, we put posts on Facebook. I actually did that straight away. As soon as you commented on that, I didn't think it was something I needed to wait for the next Q&A to address. So I've started posting them. As soon as I know that we're going to have a painting hangout, I'll put a note on Facebook, so hopefully you guys get a heads up, so a bit of notice if you want to join. But you know, they are just informal hangouts. You're really not missing much if you certainly don't feel like you need to you know, you need to attend them or anything. They're very laid back. We just talk about things like the news, rumors, what we're working on. We sit there and paint, you know, have a few beers, just chit chat, and it's been a lot of fun so far. I mean, some of them have lasted, like, I think the shortest one we had was about 4 or 5 hours, and the longest one we had was coming up for over 10 hours. It started at 10 o'clock at night and it went on till sort of 8 in the morning, and then we had some sort of technical problem with the webcam, and then we just thought, okay, that's enough. But they've been a lot of fun. Like, I love it, especially you guys who come back time and time again. You know who you are. Yeah, really appreciate it, and I'm certainly enjoying them. You know, we're not doing it as something to advertise our channel, or we're not doing it for any benefits. It's just something to do that kind of, you know, it's enjoyable for us at least as much as it is for you guys that join. So yeah, definitely loving them. Timo Suomela saying, I already asked one question, but let's have another. The Tomb Kings, do you think that they, oh sorry, like Vincent said there, maybe even 1 or 2 fixed evenings for those. Well, we don't really want to fix the painting hangouts down to like a fixed day every week, because we really don't know what days we can allocate to painting, and there's a lot of things that come up, and our schedule's a bit all over the place. So I wouldn't want to commit to certain days and then not be able to make them and have to cancel and all that stuff. So I'd rather just do them ad hoc, but we will try and give you as much notice as possible. And we do so much painting that, you know, it's likely on a normal week there'll be a couple of hangouts. So yeah, Timo's saying, I already asked one question, but let's have another. The Tomb Kings, do you think that they have any role in Age of Sigmar? Well, yeah, of course they do, just like any other of the old races that are still valid now, because they have war scrolls. They've got a place in Age of Sigmar. The bigger question is, how relevant are the old factions going to be going forward? So, you know, if we look at Age of Sigmar in maybe a year or 2 from now, or maybe longer, after the new models come out, the new elves, the new Dwarden, the Fire Slayers, the you know, all of this stuff, and the way that the story evolves, are are they then still going to be relevant? And that's a question that I'm not sure the answer of. Certainly when I was going to make my undead army, I stayed away from Tomb Kings and went for vampire counts, mainly because Tomb Kings to me actually, when I started Warhammer sort of 15, 20 years ago, there was only undead, and undead was kind of, it was more of a vampire count type of army. It certainly didn't have that Egyptian feel to it. So coming back after a long break into the hobby and seeing all these Tomb Kings, to me, and then knowing that Age of Sigmar was coming, and now we have it, Tomb Kings to me aren't really that, in my mind anyway, that they're not really, I'm more in tune to the vampire counts than the Tomb Kings, if that makes sense. But going forward, I'm not really sure, just like, you know, everybody else. We're really waiting to see where Games Workshop goes with Age of Sigmar, in terms of like the story and the models as well. You know, we've had the Stormcasts. We know that they're bigger than other models. They're quite Space Marine-y, if you want to put it that way. It's a different aesthetic, a different style to the Fantasy range of models, and they certainly look a little bit strange when you put them next to normal-sized miniatures, like old-sized miniatures. So going forward with the new elves and the new dwarves and so on, I think what I'd like to see is, are they going to have a completely new, I mean, we know they're going to look different, but are the models going to be scaled up slightly, so it makes the old range look a little sort of slightly insignificant when you put them next to like a group of the new guys. So that's a question in my mind. But you know, it's a hard one. Like if you like Tomb Kings and you like the Egyptian aesthetic type thing, then I would say go for it. And I don't see Games Workshop not allowing you to use them models. So I think, you know, I think all of the War Scrolls have produced, you're going to be able to continue to use them armies in Age of Sigmar for a long time to come. So I wouldn't worry about not being able to use your models if you started a Tomb King army. It's more just kind of in your head, does it fit with where the story's going and stuff? I think that's kind of how I look at it. Okay, so the next one from Mick Bow here. Hello, people, about summoning. It says, now from a question, what do you think of the SDK and Azure comp? I'm sorry if you had that question before, as I'm writing this while watching the vid. I like it. I like how there's a lot of comps that I like. But what I don't like is complications. So like if it's like the Azure comp, I think is quite straightforward. It's very easy to understand what the rulings are on, you know, shooting into combat and all this type thing. It hasn't overcomplicated it. It's gone for quite a simple approach, and I'd be quite happy to play games with Azure comp. It's just because we do videos for the channel, we don't really want to pigeonhole ourselves into we play this comp. But yeah, I like them. Like I think you know, community generated content, whether that be campaigns or you know, backstory or house rulings and stuff, or you know, like with Blood Bowl stuff, community rules and all this experimental war bands. It's all great stuff. Like it's got a really good, because usually the people that write it are people who love what they're writing about. You know, they put a lot of effort and time into what they're doing. So yeah, I think it's great, but I don't think we're going to play with a specific comp on the channel, unless one gets completely adopted as mainstream. This is how pretty much everybody plays Age of Sigmar, and then we'd probably do it then, because that's what the main want. But I think generally people just want to see the raw game, you know, for better or worse. But okay, let's see, what's our next question? Again, about the painting Hangouts. Is it at the same time always? No, it's not. Usually it starts about 10 o'clock French time, which is sort of 9 p.m. UK time. And they go on for a long time. We usually paint until quite late, so yeah. Stephen Thomas here is asking, really like the miniatures cabinet you have. I've been struggling to find an affordable solution. Do you have any suggestions? My army is elf, so needs space for dragons. Well, this one's a really good miniatures cabinet. I don't have any experience with using different types of cabinets. This is the only miniatures cabinet I've ever owned, and I've only owned it, well, my parents actually came back one day and they said, look what we've got you. And they had a flat pack box with his miniature cabinet in, and they had found it. They were in a shop somewhere and they just seen it, and they thought, well, yeah, that'd be good for them, because we've got so many miniatures all over the place, painted, unpainted. It's just, and not even to mention terrain. Like, we have definitely got storage issues. But this one cost about 60 euros, so about £50. I'm not sure what the brand of it is, but I know there's lots of manufacturers that make these. They're mainly aimed at the sort of the like train collector, hobby train collector and stuff, like model trains and stuff like that market. So there's plenty out there, and yeah, I would say something like this, it would be great. I love it, honestly, I really do. I wish I had one of these earlier. Like, you think, well, a cabinet's just for displaying, but in actual fact, not only do you get to see the miniatures presented in a really nice way, but the amount of space that you have to actually store the miniatures is great. I mean, that's a lot of miniatures you can get in there, and they're safe and they look really good. So I think when we move into our stable or man cave 2.0, I think I'm probably going to get more of these or something similar, and try and keep as many models as I can in cabinets, because cabinets to me is actually probably the best way of keeping them, I think, in your house, if you've got space for it. Obviously if you don't, then nothing you can do about it, but I would at least get one small one just to put the miniatures you like the best, or the ones you want to show off, and just stick it somewhere in your house. I'm sure you'll get some compliments when visitors come around. Okay, what else do we have here? Tyler Emerson, he says, hi guys, Patreon supporter here. Thanks for supporting us. Love your channel, weekly Q&A and all around positive vibe. Here's a question. What top 3 things would you like to see Games Workshop do or do differently to build a large Age of Sigmar player base for the long term? Well, that's a very good question. Top 3 things I'd like Games Workshop to do differently. Well, I think they've done a lot of things right so far, but I don't think that's what your question is getting at, is to do what they need to do differently. Some of the things I'd like to see done differently, I'd like them to interact with the community more. I don't understand why they've gone for this sort of policy of disabling comments on their YouTube videos, not really interacting with the community much. I think they're working on it. If there was Games Workshop rep going around some conventions answering questions on Age of Sigmar, that's good. It's definitely a step in the right direction, but I'd like them to do a lot more than that. I'd like them to do just a whole load more, just talking to the community, getting feedback. I mean, I think some of the feedback they get is obviously going to be a lot of the time the people that do the talking are the people that are doing the complaining, and it's not really representative of the population. But generally, just being able to interact with the community more, I think that would definitely benefit them. I don't see any downside if they did that. Secondly, what would I like to see them do to make Age of Sigmar successful? I think another one is, I like that they've made it easy for new people to come in. I can understand why they've done that. But I think for it to be truly successful and to continue to build that player base, I think we need to see more depth from, maybe depth is not the right word, but depth, or I think they need to make the game slightly more competitive. And there's many ways they could go about doing it. They've took away the points value thing, so list building is kind of not there anymore, which I feel is a bit of a shame in a way. I mean, you can say, well, it's a more dynamic list building, and you place yours and you place something to counter it. But my feelings, I like to know what models I'm going to play with, and I like to spend a bit of time deciding what's going to be in my army. And if you go to like a gaming night and you've got 2 hours to play, you're really not going to spend much time, strategizing about what models you're going to field. You'd have to do it quickly. So I think they need to address that in some way. I think, maybe an expansion to Age of Sigmar, which is tailored to the sort of the old guard, if it were, but not just the old guard, even the new players that want more of a competitive type of game. I would like to see that in some sort of expansion, or you know, there's lots of different ways of them doing that, because I'm not really, you see, I've played Age of Sigmar since it came out, and we've played a lot of games, and we've been enjoying all of our games. But you know, we film our games for the YouTube channel, so we get a lot of enjoyment as well out of making these videos, knowing that we're going to put, like, we play these games knowing that we're going to put the video onto YouTube, and then we get all this interaction from you guys, and we get a lot of pleasure out of the YouTube channel as well as playing the games. So you know, I've been asked, and I think it comes down to in a question later on, you know, asking, do we still get the same enjoyment of Age of Sigmar as you know, now 3 months on? And because we've got the YouTube channel, it's a difficult question to answer. So we'll have to. I mean, we love doing it. That's all I can really say. If it wasn't for the YouTube channel, whether we'd enjoy it as much, I'd like to think, yeah, but you know, maybe it would be different, or a little bit different. But I think if there's more competitiveness, so there's more. I mean, competitiveness is not always a good thing, but there needs to be a little bit more depth to the game, I think. You know, there's not enough to kind of sit around thinking about with Age of Sigmar, because you know, you can kind of bring anything you want to the table, and you know, the way that the gameplay evolves is, I mean, it can be tactical and so on. There's a lot of randomness as well. Yeah, it's a difficult question, but I think if they put some effort into making an expansion that tightens up the rules a little bit, and you know, gives players more to think about, you know, in terms of unit selection, war scroll selection, and also in-game things like magic, maybe expanding upon the magic, expanding upon the formations. So, like, you know, if your unit is, you know, in a loose skirmish or a tight box and all this type of thing, you get bonuses and things like that. I'd like to see a bit more depth in it. I'm talking about, because this question is addressed at the long term. So, you know, in the short term, the game's still very new. We don't really need, I mean, you know, for a lot of people, this is, you know, they're still kind of getting to grips with Age of Sigmar. So we don't need this all right now. But looking at it from a long-term player-based point of view, I think they need a bit more depth in the game. I mean, you can love the miniatures like we do. We love the miniatures. We love playing. We love the story, and the gameplay is like, you know, it's only a portion of our enjoyment out of Age of Sigmar, but still, for long-term survivability of the game, and you know, for its own health, I think that population needs to. The Games Workshop needs to cater for not just the starters, even if a large majority of their sales come from new people coming into the hobby, and they need new faces and new people to replace the old ones leaving. That's only a portion of it. They've still got to. They have to. I mean, okay, they've sold me an army. They've sold me Age of Sigmar. But if they want me to buy anything else, like, they've got to keep me happy with the game, in terms of updates, and you know, I've got expectations with Age of Sigmar, and I've always thought since the very start that, you know, as the game, I don't think I've been unrealistic in thinking that, you know, it's a brand new game. It's obviously going to come in quite a simplistic format, where people, you know, to get people into the game, get people used to the way the game plays, and then later on down the line, I've also always thought that, you know, there is going to be expansions, there is going to be a lot more depth to it, and it's not just going to be in its current form. That's how it's going to continue for the next 5 years. I really don't think that Games Workshop's going to do that, but yeah, I'd be disappointed if they did, that's for sure. I mean, it's hard enough just to get on board with the story changes, and then the game system as well. I think if they, you know, the game is, some people call it simplistic. Simplicity is a good thing, but I think there needs to be more depth to it. Anyway, I'll stop rambling about that, and let's get on to the next one. So, what else? Darvid Opa says, who is your favorite character of the Warhammer Fantasy lore? I really enjoy your channel and your attitude. Well, thanks, Darvid. Favorite character? I've got so many characters that I really like. because I've played so many armies over so many years that I've been attached to various various characters and armies and story at different points in my kind of hobbying. But I think it's always going to be Imric, Prince Imric, and it's either Prince Imric or Teclis, because I've just got a fondness for them. All the backstory. I guess Teclis in a way, more so than Tyrion. I mean, my favorite model is Prince Imric, just because of nostalgic value. Favorite character would probably be Teclis. I mean, he's saved the High Elves so many times, and I just love his whole, his brothers with Tyrion. He's kind of really sick and frail, and he needs potions to keep him kind of, keep him on his feet. But at the same time, he's one of the strongest mages in the Warhammer world, and now the Age of Sigmar world. I just love everything about him. Okay, Skyhawk is asking, sorry, another question. Your minis look great. Just wondering if you used a varnish seal on them and what product do you recommend? I know Games Workshop do their own purity seal, but read some mixed reviews of the finish. We don't varnish everything. We varnish all metal models, and I would recommend varnishing all metal models unless they're going to sit in a case like this. You're never going to play with them, which I think for 95% of people isn't the case, and you want to play with your toys. So we use purity seal. Not really got any preference to it. We used to use the old Games Workshop varnish, and then coming back, I think this is only varnish or they renamed it to purity seal. We've had mixed results with it. I had all my High Elves for Blood Bowl. They totally frosted over. I spent quite a while painting the whole team, all nice bright colors, nice highlights. Gave it a fairly heavy coat of varnish with the purity seal. Came back an hour later, and I was like they had looked totally whitened over. It's like the purity seal had set with air bubbles in it. I think that's what happens, and it gives you this frosty look, which desaturates all the colors, and it looks pretty horrible. And then I basically had to go and repaint them all again. But because they're Blood Bowl miniatures, they're going to take so much bashing. You have to varnish them. There's no option. But that's the first time that I've had that, and I had it not only on the High Elves, I had it on a couple other models as well. And I did some reading on the internet about purity seal, and there's lots of people saying that there's bad batches of purity seal. So if you get a good one, you'll have no problems with it at all. If you get a bad one, then you'll get bad frosting like we had. And then other people saying, well, it depends on what conditions you spray in. Make sure you spray thin layer. Make sure you do it in a reasonably, your ambient temperature is something sort of between I think 10 and 20 Celsius, something like that. So if you spray in the cold, that's a bad idea, and some other things. So I'm not an expert. I've got varnish from Vallejo I've not tried out yet. So I think any varnish will work. I would say if you're about to spray a miniature that you really care about, and you've not tested the varnish that you have, to spray it on something else first, and do it sort of just before you're about to spray the miniature that you want. So spray a test miniature or a test piece of something, and then give it sort of half an hour to dry, see if it's frosted over or not, or see if there's any issues with the varnish. And then on the same day, straight after, so the temperature of the can and everything's pretty much the same place, same humidity, then spray the model that you care about. Because if you spent days and days painting a special character, and just with the sort of 10 seconds spraying it with a purity seal and it wrecks your miniature, you're really not going to be happy. I think just test it first is the best way. So Warhammer Games Club, he says, another good Q&A vid. Nice to hear your comments. Question for the next one. Would you like to hear how you guys got into the hobby and how long you've been playing for? What editions of Fantasy and 40k did you start on, etc.? Well, we started when we were sort of around about 12 years old, something like that. We used to live in the countryside, and I guess when you're in the countryside, you don't have a whole lot to do. I mean, our nearest neighbor was 2 miles away, but the group of people that we played with, they were all kind of in the same area. Well, guess we're kind of lucky in a way, because all of my friends my age that lived within sort of, 3-4 miles of my house. So they all played Warhammer as well. So I guess it was kind of good in a way. So we were into reading. We were reading, the what they called fighting fantasy books. Where you read a story and then you pick what action you want to take, and then it'll say like, if you attack, turn to page 67. You turn there, and then you kind of role play your way through the game or through the book. And we picked up Dungeons and Dragons. I guess Dungeons and Dragons really kicked it off because we spent a lot of time playing AD&D. And making characters and re-rolling characters until you got one that was good enough and all that type of thing. We loved all that, and then it evolved in, I'm not sure the order here because it was so long ago, but we played Hero Quest, Advanced Hero Quest. We played what else? Then we got into Gorka Morka and Space Hulk, and then it was on to Warhammer Fantasy. And that was Warhammer Fantasy. I think it was 3rd edition. It was the one with High Elves and Goblins, and you had like Grom the Paunch and Eltharion on his griffin. They were like cardboard cutouts that you played with. So no characters came with the box set. It was just troops, and you had your special characters on cards. And oh man, they were good days. That was what that's why Imric has such value to me, is because in them days when you just had like lots of plastic foot soldiers and all your special characters on cardboard, then to get this metal special character on a dragon it was such a big deal. It was just amazing. So anyway, so we went on from Warhammer. Then we picked up Warhammer 40k and Dark Millennium, and we were playing 40k as well. We kind of went through patches of playing Warhammer Fantasy, and then we'd play 40k. It was kind of with our friends we'd do this as well. So as a kind of gaming group, we'd play Fantasy for quite a while, like maybe 6 months or 8 months, and then we'd go to Blood Bowl and we'd play Blood Bowl for a while, and then maybe our taste changes and we go to 40k and we're playing that and kind of back and forth, but we were kind of playing all the games at the same time. And we even got into Magic the Gathering. That was when I think Magic the Gathering, roundabout when it first came out. I think that's when it first came out, sort of 1993, 94, around about then. And it was great. We'd go to, living in the countryside, it was very rare that we'd get to actually go over to our friend's house, the ones that lived in town. So every Wednesday we'd have like at the community club, there was like a games club where we had one games shop in Inverness, and the guy from that was running the Wednesday night games club, and we'd all go there, and it was a place to come together with all your friends, and it was something to look forward to every week, and it was amazing. Like a really good time. So I guess we've been playing for sort of, how many years would that be? Sort of 22, 23 years. But we took a long break out in between as well. So we were playing since about 12 until about age 17, 18, and then off to uni, and then that's when we took a break from hobby, uni and work and so on. And then we came back into the hobby last December, and so not so long ago, after such a long break. So there's this whole, there's more than a decade of Games Workshop content that we missed out on. Mordheim, Battlefleet Gothic, revised edition of Blood Bowl, community rules, all this type of thing. So it's been really interesting to not only come back and pick up painting and stuff again. I love painting. I always have loved painting. And in that time during the break, you going past Games Workshop shops, you always think, oh man, that was so much fun when I did it. I'd love to do it again. But I don't know. I guess a lot of people are like this. They kind of take a big break from the hobby. They played it when they were younger, but they kind of got all these good feelings from the time that they played, that at some point they do pick it up again, and then they get a bit carried away. And I think that's kind of where we are in our cycle of the hobby. So I went onto eBay and I picked up all these games that we missed on Mordheim, Battlefleet Gothic. We're putting together our miniatures collection again, and just really enjoyed it, getting back into the hobby. So I guess that answers that. Next, Brendan saying, how's your enjoyment level for Age of Sigmar so far? Is the novelty starting to wear off, or can you see it as a solid base going into the future for many years to come? Glad I'm not the only one who has the War Scrolls printed and bound. Well, I don't really like using iPads because the battery runs out, and you kind of, I mean, okay, it lasts a good while, but I just prefer paper. You know, you're not reliant on battery power. You can sit there and look at it for as long as you like. I find sometimes the iPad's a bit clunky to use. I know a lot of people are a big fan of the Age of Sigmar app for this, but I mean, I installed it and I had a look at it, had a little play around, but it just doesn't seem as good to me as just having the War Scrolls for all of your army, and you just flick to whatever you want. It just seems much easier, but I don't know, preference completely. So how's the enjoyment level for Age of Sigmar so far? I guess I kind of answered that before. We're really liking it. We're really enjoying playing it. We've got so many things that we're looking forward to doing. You know, getting the Dreadhold painted up, doing some kind of siege games, doing larger games. We've got like Celestant Prime and Bloodthirster we're going to be fielding soon. Yeah, I really like it. I just hope that Games Workshop continue to, you know, they don't just, because I think we're getting near the end of the cycle for Age of Sigmar. It's been like a good 3 months of Age of Sigmar only almost. So I think they're going to have to get back to 40k and, you know, all this other stuff, 30k starter sets. And when it quietens down for Age of Sigmar, I hope we don't have to sit where we are for a long, long time. Like, I would like to see an expansion for Age of Sigmar that gives you optional, but much more in-depth gameplay. I mean, I do like light. It's one of them hard things to kind of make a judgment on, because especially as you get older and you've got more commitments, your time is much more valuable. So, although you'd love 200 pages of rules, you know, practically having a game that you can pick up that's got 4 pages of rules is really easy. It makes it easy for you to do that, to play a game. But at the same time, you want depth to it. So, like, you know, on a Saturday, for example, and you're playing Age of Sigmar, and you've got, you know, a good 10 hours or what, you can do whatever you like. Having more depth to it is also a good thing. So, I think having an optional set of, you know, much more in-depth rules, I think that would be really good. Whether Games Workshop do that or not, I'm really not sure though. But, you know, like I said, it's near the start of the Age of Sigmar release, so it's not really surprising that you know, they haven't really showed us anything else yet. Oh, and I think I might have just lost all my comments on my iPad, because we don't actually get an internet connection here in the stable, so I have to load the comments through there, and then I have to bring the iPad through here and look at them, or print them out, which I didn't do this time. So let me see if I can go back and it will reload the comments. Okay, I'm going to go back and reload the comments. I'll be back in 1 second. And we're back. So I've got the comments reloaded. So let's see if I can rejoin my train of thought there. So I guess that was the end of Brendan's question. So on to the next one from Mike Dawson. He's saying, hey guys, loving the content you've been putting out. Just curious on how you guys feel on putting out battle reports for out-of-print games. It's great to see these older games still being played because I have a lot of nostalgic memories, but I find it's also rather bittersweet as well, as the models are no longer available and trying to convert models to fit these game systems would be rather difficult, e.g. Blood Bowl and Necromunda. Yeah, it's a good point. You know, a lot of us love these specialist games because, you know, when they were available, we had a lot of fun with them. But the fact is that you cannot really buy them anymore. They're certainly not supported by the manufacturers anymore. So all you can do really is either download, you know, rules and information as you can, or buy things off eBay, you know, the second-hand market, which is difficult. And you know, when we started the channel, we were thinking about doing these specialist games, you know, doing them very regularly as well as Warhammer. But it's just, I'm not really sure whether it's, you know, doing them all regularly. I think that's probably too much to be able to do. And like you said, you know, it's kind of bittersweet for some people that, you know, don't want to go through all the effort and expense of, you know, having to find gangs and teams and stuff on eBay. So I think doing them on a sort of infrequent basis is probably best. So it's kind of just a taste of the game. You know, people. I think that's probably where people would like to see it the most. So most of the content is currently available games like Warhammer, Age of Sigmar, 40k, and other games. It doesn't have to be like Frostgrave and these other games we've been playing recently. They're current games that you can buy the rulebook, you can buy the models quite cheaply. Well, Age of Sigmar cheaply. But you know what I mean, you don't have to go to a second-hand market to get them. I think it's probably the way of doing it, and just mixing into our normal content some games of like Battlefleet Gothic and Necromunda and Blood Bowl and stuff, just to mix it up a little bit. But yeah, totally agree with you. So what else do we have here? There's quite a few comments that aren't really questions again, but Thornback82 says, do you each have individual armies or do you collectively own the miniatures shown? I would like to see each of you play with different armies more. Well, I guess I kind of bought most of the stuff personally, but some of the stuff they bought as well, like Ayad's dwarfs or his dwarfs, he bought them. I buy a lot of stuff for the channel. That's just kind of, we all use it. And it's kind of theirs. I bought the Tyranids for Yahya, and it's kind of his army, even though I paid for it. So, because we're family, I guess that answers that part of the question. And the other part of the question, can we play different armies more? We could, yeah, but it's just like, I like playing High Elves more than anything else. And I know the rules for High Elves better than any of the other ones, so if we're going to play a game with High Elves in it, it kind of makes sense for me to be the one controlling the High Elves. Maybe just to kind of get the other player's perspective, it might be good to, and for my own knowledge as well, to play these other armies and, to see the other side of it. We could do that. Maybe we will. I mean, I'm not saying that I'll only play. I mean, we've got a couple of armies that we kind of consider our own, in the sense that they're kind of like our babies. So like the High Elves are kind of my baby, the Dwarves are kind of Ayad's, and the Skaven are Yahya's. And the same in 40k, like I've got Eldar, Yahya's got Tyranids, and Ayad's got Space Wolves, and they're kind of our armies. But it doesn't mean to say that we can't play each other's armies. So maybe we will. Yeah. Doc Raven saying, questions, BFG, what fleets are we going to see? Well, the fleets that we have is Eldar, Imperial, and Chaos. So there are the three fleets that you'll see. We've also got some other big models like the Ramillies Starport and the Blackstone Fortress. So I've got a couple of little orc models, but I didn't get enough to make an orc fleet. So yeah, that's what we'll show. I think we're going to do Battlefleet Gothic soon. It's been too long without a BFG, I think. A lot of people have been asking for it as well. More time. Are you planning to make a real campaign or more like an open league? Well, we're running our own campaign. I don't really know what you mean by an open league. What is an open league? I guess an open league is like if a Games Workshop store was running, or it doesn't have to be a store, but if somebody was running an open league, anybody can join with their warbands, right? And I would have no objection to that, apart from the fact that we're based down here in the south of France, so to actually physically play them games would be challenging. But yeah, I mean, I guess we're running an open league that's not very accessible. Okay, Infinity, please start testing this game. It will force you to build a lot of terrain, but it's definitely a great game. Have a look to the game named Freebooter's Fate. Okay, so the first part of the question, Infinity, I like the look of Infinity. I know it's very popular in the wargaming community. It's quite an in-depth rule set. I think maybe we will. It's one of them things that is kind of on our to-do list or to look at list, but I would like to cover more than just, I don't want the channel to be just an Age of Sigmar channel, even though that's been our focus since Age of Sigmar came out. I'd like to do more things, so yeah, we'll take a look at it at some point. have a look to the game named Freebooter's Fate. It's really a fun game and is different to every other game because you use a kind of cart game to hit each other and no dice. The minis are really cool, and it didn't have a high amount of attention in YouTube, so it would make your channel even more special. I like your channel really, and and your painting hangouts are super. Never do stop that. I like to speak with you and paint my own minis in this time, and I like that you make me feel less freaking when I'm painting at 2 o'clock in the morning. Okay, man, I'll take a look at it. Freebooter's Fate. I'll take a look at that, see what it is. Sounds quite interesting. How can you play a sort of, well, without dice? Cards, maybe, like Malifaux. Okay, so what do we have next? Kevin Mitchell is asking, do you think Sigmar will appear as a model? Any news on the new Dwarf release dates? I don't think Sigmar is going to appear as a model, for the same reason that Games Workshop haven't really released a model for the Emperor. It's going to remain one of them things that's just like people might convert, and you know, it's like, you know, in the Age of Sigmar world, like Sigmar is of such high importance that to put him in miniature form might take something away from the kind of, it's like, you know, when you're watching a movie, a scary movie, as soon as you see the bad guy in the movie is not so scary anymore. But when they don't show you the killer or whoever it is for a long time, and it gets your imagination thinking, and that's a really powerful thing. So I think for that reason, they won't make Sigmar miniature. And any news on the new Dwarf release dates? I'm not sure. I certainly don't know anything more than you know, what you get in your normal news feeds. I think they did say, or the rumors were that what they call the Fire Slayers, which is the new dwarfs, new Dwarden, they're going to be coming out relatively soon after the Chaos cycle. So I think we've seen all of the Sigmar, the Stormcast Eternals, or most of them for now. And then there's going to be a bit of Chaos, and then hopefully after that, I think the Flame. What they called Fire Slayers are going to be coming soon after that, I think, but I'm not sure at all. And Spitmaster says, hi guys, thank you for a great job. I really enjoy watching your battle reports. Can we see larger Dwarf versus Chaos battle? Yeah, I mean, we're going to be doing in our mega battles in Just Epic series, we're going to be doing some larger battles. We're certainly improving the amount of models we have. You know, we've got Bloodthirster for the Chaos now, and the Dreadhold. You're going to see some pretty epic battles on our channel, I think. So, and you know, Chaos versus Dwarfs, I'm sure that'll be one of them. We've got plenty of Dwarfs, that's for sure. And what else? Will you make a battle report with Lizardmen? I want to see how they work on a Realm battleground. So, we don't have a Lizardmen army, and I don't think it's on our, you know, soon to get list either, but maybe at some point we'll have a Lizardman army as well. We'll just have to see how it goes. What's the name for the Lizardman now? The Seraphon. Yeah, still trying to get used to all of these names. And that brings us to an end of the Q&A. So that's all of your questions hopefully answered. If you'd like to leave your questions for the next Q&A below, that would be great. Anything from me? I guess maybe just a little bit on a channel update. I guess since the last time we did the Q&A, we've been doing a lot of things. We've had painting hangouts. We got the Dreadhold, which is a lot of plastic to paint, and you know, it's going to be really cool. We did a couple of battle reports on this new game called Frostgrave. It's really good. Really enjoying it. It's it's a Mordheim-like game. Kind of a campaign skirmish where you've got a wizard and his apprentice, then you make a warband, and the rules seem really good for it. It's all focused on spell casting, so loving playing that. I think we're going to continue that campaign for sure. And what else? And Blood Bowl 2 as well. That's come out on, well, the beta's out now, so we've got the beta edition, and on Tuesday, the 22nd of September, the full version of the game goes live. So we're going to run a league just in the background for, I mean, a lot of you guys that are interested in Warhammer and play the tabletop version, especially some of the younger guys as well. I'm sure you play video games as well, and you know, things like Blood Bowl 2, Total War, Warhammer, this type of thing is really interesting to a lot of us, you know, tabletop fans. So you know, doing like a couple of videos here and there, or running like the league in the background. Maybe we'll do a competition in the league where maybe we get a couple of you guys who are interested in coming on. We play some games, we record them, you know, we maybe record all the Ventrilo or the Skype interaction throughout the game as well, and just make some videos, make it, you know, we could do like a round robin thing where we get 8 players, so you know, maybe 2 of us from Tabletop Minis and then 6 others, and we all play each other once, and then there's like a you know, a kind of scoreboard, and then at the end of it maybe we have some sort of prize or something. But Blood Bowl is a lot of fun, and the computer game is so easy to play, you know, because you don't need a physical opponent, you don't need the miniatures, or you don't need to buy the box set or anything. You just play it on your computer. So for some people, you know, it's the only way that they can play Blood Bowl. So yeah, that's really cool. And what else? Anything else? Not really much. We're absolutely swamped with the amount of things that we've got to paint, and there's so many cool things like happening in the tabletop world just now, that it's really our biggest struggle at the moment is prioritizing things. And also Ayad, one of the guys here, my brother here, he's off back to the UK soon, so there's only going to be 2 of us here, plus my wife. So I'm going to try and get her recruited into the, like, she quite likes playing and stuff, but she's, you know, she's not that great on the rules, and she's not used to miniature wargaming, so it's quite a learning curve. So maybe I'll get her in to help play through some of the campaigns and stuff, because, you know, for Frostgrave and things like that, you really need 3 or more people. Having 2 people is not enough to run a campaign, I don't think. I mean, yeah, you need at least 3. So, you know, we've got some issues there. And then with all the painting and stuff that we're doing, and there's just so many games, it's like where to put your time. And as well, the success of the channel, you know, we've got some, and you know, putting out more content, showing more games, and yeah, I guess that's kind of an ongoing struggle. So, you know, that's something we're working on and we're thinking about a lot. But anyway, you know, the channel's evolving. We're loving the channel. We're loving making these videos for you guys. We love the interaction and feedback that we've been getting. It's been amazing so far. And yeah, we hope it continues like this. So that is it, guys. Enough rambling for me. Thank you very much for watching, if you made it to the end of this video. And yeah, we'll see you again. See you again soon.